Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. And I'm going to wait for a minute for some people to pop on and see how we're going. I can't wait to talk about the things I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about the things that we've been taught in order to induce certain behaviors out of us, and then what the actual truth is. And I'm excited to share everything that, that we get to talk about. So I'm going to wait for a few more people to come on and see. Okay, so what I want to talk about is why, as human beings, we feel so unfulfilled within our lives, especially if you're not living in a third world country, a war-torn country. And people might think that in the United States, we're not at war on our land, but in fact we are. But I'm not going to get too much into that at this point. I just want to talk about some of the programs that were instilled in us through school, through parenting and different things like that, and then what the actual truth is. And if we actually turn these concepts on their side, or actually they're on their side, and we set them right side up, it really sets the stage for us to become fulfilled with our lives and within our lives and with what we're doing and within ourselves, no matter how much we have or how much we don't have. The possessions that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is that we're taught that possessions will make us happy, right? We're taught that through marketing and whatever else, buy this skin cream and you'll be beautiful and love will just fall into your lap. Well, that's not true, right? We know that because I'm 40 years old and I know that all the possessions I have, I wanted at some point, but now that I have them, I still don't feel fulfilled. So I came to realize that the actual truth is that we are actually searching for a connection with ourselves and our higher self, because we've been given these examples to follow, and they're examples of perfection, right? Especially in Christianity, who we're supposed to follow is Jesus, and well, he's the only perfect person to have walked this world, but we need to be like him. But wait a minute, if he was perfect, then he probably wasn't human. I don't know, because I don't know any perfect humans. So, that's really a lie that we've been told, that we're actually trying to compare ourselves to a perfect human, a perfect person. How can we ever feel good about ourselves in that way? Because this is the thing, there is no comparison. You can't compare a human being with another human being. It doesn't matter. You can't. There's no way to compare in straight lines. Some people want to use IQ in certain tests, but we know that those are flawed, and it's not a way to judge a human's value or the gifts a specific human being possesses. So that's the first thing. If you are feeling unfulfilled, make a connection with yourself, with your higher self. Make a connection with your ideal self. Who would you be if you were to choose who you were, rather than to listen to who people have told you to be, or people who have told you who you are, right? School told us who we were. Were you a straight A student? Were you an honor student? Were you in special classes? Did you have a reading problem? Did that make you less than everyone else? These kind of ideas we don't realize are being placed upon us, and then they live in us. They literally begin to have a life within us, and those energies actually begin to make up a portion of who we are. And that's one of the bigger lies that we've been told. We've also been told that a connection with ourselves and putting ourselves as a priority is a selfish thing to do, and that we shouldn't do that. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And that's the crazy thing, is that we're told to buy more possessions to feel better about ourselves, but then we're told we're being selfish if we do so. So we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. What's the truth? Well, this is the truth. Having a connection with yourself allows you to give to others. It actually is selfless. When you give to yourself and you truly give to yourself in a way that enhances and encourages your growth, it's not selfish, it's selfless. And because this is the thing, buying possessions can be selfish, especially if we have a family member that needs help, and we're not wanting to give to that family member. Well, because God wouldn't give you more than you could handle. So I'm sure you got it, right? No, that's not right. We need to be there for one another. We need to build those connections. And if you're going to use your possessions in a proper way, you're going to use them to create experiences with other people. It's all about energy. It's all about our thoughts. Every single thought is an action. Remember that. Every single thought is an action. It's not insignificant. It's not a passing thought. Every single thought that materializes in our brains will manifest in the physical one way or another, because it has come to us for a reason. Another lie that we've been told is that we only have one life. Now, if you're a Christian, I hope I don't lose you here, but it's the truth. How can we honestly say that we get one life and at the end of that life we're judged and it's over at that point? You either go up or you go down. Done. No more discussion. Especially when we come into this life through a veil of amnesia. How could that even be a possibility? Who in this world could make it through at the end of it ready to be in the spirit realm with one life? Can't be that way, right? So if it's true that we have more than one life, then this life matters in relation to the next life. And the previous life, even though we may not remember it, maybe we'll get glimpses of it, but we carry the energy with us. All of that is affecting today, and it'll affect tomorrow. And guess what? Tomorrow, I might not have a body, but I'll still have a spirit. And that spirit is going to carry with it whatever energy I acquired during this life. This life is but a stepping stone on the full staircase to ascension, right? That's why they call it ascension, because we're raising our vibration. And at some point, we raise our vibration so high that this physical body is no longer needed. Right now, I need this physical body because I need to experience the senses. I need to experience sight, sound, touch in order for me to grow. Otherwise, we would never reincarnate. We'd just stay in the ether and be happy. And, if you've ever heard a near-death experience, you'll know that it's just unconditional love. And most people don't want to come back. Let me tell you, if you don't want to come back, you better figure it out and start working on it. In this life, I'm 40 years old, and I tell you what, I know for a fact I will spend the rest of my life, every minute, every second of every day, observing my thoughts, observing other people, and understanding the realm that I'm in. And when I leave this body and I go back into the ether, I will come back with such riches. And I don't mean material riches. I don't mean gold. I'm talking about the base thoughts that I have transmuted into gold. Because you see, there are different levels of thought. I don't know if you've ever heard the meme or seen the meme talking about how small minds talk about people and strong minds or weak minds talk about people and strong minds talk about concepts and ideas. Because you see, if you're focusing on other people, you're not understanding the bigger concepts that are right there before us. And we have some great teachers to follow at this point. One of my favorites is Joe Dispenza. He is so amazing. And, a year and a half ago or so, I did not know where I was going to be. I didn't know who I was anymore. And this is after I had obtained a bachelor's degree. I'd raised 2 children. I'd been married for 13 years. I knew who I was. I thought I did until it all fell apart. Because eventually the trauma that was happening in my life was stuck in me. I didn't know how to deal with it. And even with a psychology degree, I didn't know how to deal with it. I did know, however, that I was having mental problems, right? Emotional problems. I knew I wasn't myself. I knew I was saying things and doing different things. I knew that somehow there was some kind of conflict within me. And so I pretty much broke all the way down and I started listening to Joe Dispenza. And when I started listening to Joe Dispenza, I'm very masculine minded. I'm very analytical. I'm very science based. I'm very concrete based. I want to see the concepts that are here, and I want to see it in front of me, and I want to see the results, and I want to know about the results, and I want to know about the possibilities and these different things. And Joe Dispenza convinced me through science and through his own experiences that what I didn't think was possible was actually possible. And it was really strange because at some point in my life as a young person, I knew it was possible. I had these beliefs. And through the education system, and again, I have a bachelor's degree, so I was educated by the people who my focus was where they told me for it to be, right? Until I graduated, and then I put my focus where I wanted it to be. But you know, at the end of the day, the things that we were taught, when you're finally told the truth, it's almost like amnesia. Like, I just needed someone else to say it. I knew it. I knew it inside of me. And I just needed someone else to say it. And that's what I'm doing right now, because I don't know how many people are out there who don't know this information or maybe need to hear it from another person. But it's been a year, about a year and let's see, since December. So December 21st, I got a huge download. I finally connected to my higher self. I finally connected my brain and my heart, and they finally reached coherence. And that moment in my life was a pivotal moment. I was meditating in my closet one day before work, and all of a sudden, my heart hugged me. It caused my body to hug me, and it was the most beautiful hug that I had ever received. And I didn't even know that kind of love was possible, yet I could feel it for myself for the very first time. And it was like, I didn't know what to think of it. It was so amazing and so beautiful. I actually went and grabbed my camera real quick and recorded it because so many changes were happening. And what's interesting is that, you know, in his book, he says to ask the universe or the intelligent source around us, right? Because you can call it whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you want to call it. All I know is it is an intelligent being. So, you know, I asked that being, that intelligent being, give me a sign that I've reached you or that I've emulated you in some way, just like he says in his book. And it was interesting because I was going to work one morning and I could see all of the streetlights in front of me, and there was about 20 before I could get to the freeway. And every single one of them turned green all at once. And I made it all the way through. And honestly, if I had gotten a stop sign, if I'd gotten a stoplight, I'd have taken a picture of it. But I didn't. I actually made it all the way through without it ever turning red. And that in my mind was like, what in the world is happening here? Because that had never happened before. That was always my route to work. And here I am with 20 green lights. And to me, the universe was saying, you got a green light. Do what you need to do, and do not hoard the knowledge and the information that you're getting. So that's what I'm sharing with you, is that information. And this is the other thing, you know, if at any point in your life you've questioned reincarnation, right? let's say at this point you realize, you know what, there's no way, there's not reincarnation. Everything in this earth is recycled. Literally everything in this earth is recycled. So the animals die, they become grass, the animals eat the grass. There's a cycle. It's all recycled. We break down into these different smaller elements and become something different. So if that's the case, the way we leave this world is what we come back to. Let me say that again. The way we leave this world is what we come back to. Except, get this, when we leave it, we're adults. Most of us, right? We're adults and we're able to make changes. But when we come back, we're babies and we have no way of making that change right away. We have to come back to what we left. What do we want to leave? How do we want to leave this world? Do we want to leave it in chaos, or do we want to do the best that we can in order to come back to a world that isn't this? So we're going through a huge transition right now, and it's so beautiful because if you can feel that energy, because more and more people are being awakened every single day. And for every one person that's awakened, it actually holds the space for thousands of people to finally step up to that level and awaken. So it's just exponential. And you'll start seeing the people who are in control are actually the people who are in control are actually speeding things up because they know everything is happening right now. So that's the beauty of it, is that we are divine beings and they know that. And that's where we're coming from. So I also wanted to talk about shaving my head because it's been 2 weeks or so. Actually, I think today is exactly 2 weeks because I did it on the 13th. And I've never shaved my head before. You know, I'm 40 years old. I really felt like it was a spiritual thing because hair holds energy, vibration, memory. You know, if you get a drug test, they'll cut your hair to this much and they know what's gone on or what your body has detoxed, basically, drugs or whatever, in this amount of time. So your hair carries memory and it carries emotional memory. You know, that's just the physical aspect of whatever the drug might be, but it carries emotional memory. And so for me, I wanted that emotional memory wiped clean. I knew I was transforming into someone different. And cutting my hair was only part of the process. And was it a little scary? Only a little bit. It really felt like something I must do. There was no question, there was no hesitation whatsoever. And I shaved it, and I shaved it off, and I wear it. I actually will wear my head bald. I have a scarf on right now, but a lot of times I'll walk around with a bald head. And actually my hair's growing back faster than I thought it would. But let me tell you this, the change that took place for me. When I look in the mirror now, I can't hold space for my old self. There's no way. I am bald-headed. I look so different. There is no mask. There's nothing to cover my face. I'm here. You can see me, and I'm not turning away anymore. You know, a year, or like I said, back before I found Joe Dispenza, I had created such a mask and such a shadow self that I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what the right thing was. I didn't know what the wrong thing was. And I just wanted to escape. And I couldn't. So I turned and I faced everything and I merged that shadow self. And I admitted to myself where I had been wrong, where I had been afraid of someone else's judgment. So maybe I lied, or, you know, just these different survival behaviors that I had been hiding in the back. I opened them up and I faced them and I admitted them to myself. And it was beautiful. And so now I'm never afraid to look somebody in the eye. In fact, a lot of times people were turned from my gaze because they can see how raw and genuine I am. And they don't want me to see them because there's so many masks walking around. And anybody that has a mask is masking pain. They're masking pain, they're masking trauma, and they're really hiding from who they are. And so it's really exciting, like I said, and this is the thing. My husband can't look at me the same way either because I look so different. And I can see it in his eyes that he finds me even more attractive and even more raw and genuine, and I can tell that that inspires him as well. And so it's just interesting to know what's happened. So I want to share another story with you about signs and symbols and what and the power of our mind. Okay, so yesterday I was sitting outside in the backyard with my children, and our neighbor has chickens or whatever. And so as I'm sitting there, the sun is coming over the house, and I can see the sun rays coming over, and I'm in the shadow, but I see this thing right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this thing here. This is a feather that it's actually down. So it goes underneath the feathers to keep the chicken or bird warm. I don't know if it came from a chicken or not. I'm assuming since we have neighbors who have chickens. But anyways, so this thing was floating up to the house, and I just watched it. And as I watched it, I thought about the Tao Te Ching, right? And that talks about energy and inanimate objects like this using the wind as its life force, basically, right? And so I was watching this thing, and it got higher and higher and higher up. And I thought to myself as I was watching it, wow, I wouldn't be able to see the energy that's moving this feather if I didn't see the feather itself. So, because I know that this is not empty space. This is infinite possibilities. This is unlimited possibilities. And so as I'm watching this feather and I watch it and it gets higher and higher and then it begins to come down, I think to myself, what if my mind were to direct that feather to come to me? It was too high for me to get. I'm 5'2", and I definitely wasn't going to use any of my energy to get the feather. I just had a thought. What if I directed this feather to come to me? So as I was watching it and it was getting higher and higher and it was floating away pretty much, I thought to myself, feather, come to me. And I kid you not, this feather literally started coming right to me to where I can snatch it right out of the air. Now, whether or not the wind was blowing in such a way that it would take it up and then bring it back down to me, I can't tell you. All I know is that until I had that thought in my mind, the feather was going up. And then once I had that thought, that feather came directly to me. I never had to move, and I just snatched it right out of the air. And so this is just a simple story of the way that my mind worked, because I truly believed, and it was interesting because as I was watching the feather, I felt this energy inside me, like my belief was very strong. I could feel there was a vibration in my heart, and I thought to myself, feather, come to me. And it did. And and honestly, stuff like this happens to me all the time, and I never stop being amazed because it is amazing. And so, that's my story about the feather. That's my story about shaving my head. And all I can say is that once we start transforming our lives into something different, it truly becomes something different. We have to break those habits that keep our old identity, because you and I are under no obligation to be the same person we were even 5 minutes ago. We have every right to change at any moment that we feel necessary. So that's my live for today. There hasn't been one for quite a while, and so I was really excited to do this and just give you an update, because it's, I did like I said, I shaved my head 2 weeks ago, and And I am so happy. And I don't know if I'll grow my hair back out. I mean, it's growing out, obviously. I've got a little bit of, there's more of a shadow there, but it's, I don't know, it's liberating. It's wonderful. I love touching my head. I love bringing that energy there. I love having that freeness. And what was interesting was the night that I shaved my head, there was definitely an energy shift inside of me. I could feel my energy going, instead of maintaining my hair, the strands of my hair, the energy, literally, I could feel it coming back inward. And it was just amazing. So all of you beautiful women out there, let me tell you, your outside does not make you beautiful. Your inside makes you beautiful. Our outside only affects maybe the first 10 minutes of meeting someone, and then your inner beauty comes out. That's why developing your inner self is the sexiest thing you can do. It's the most magnetic and beautiful thing that you can do. So working on this outside part is all a lie. It's all a facade. I mean, sure, we want to be as healthy as possible, maybe enhance our eyes and put a little eyeliner or whatever. But honestly, at the end of the day, none of that matters if your inside is full of darkness. And I don't mean a balance of light and darkness, because that is necessary. My darkness serves a purpose. Trust me, my darkness has a purpose, but it makes my light shine so much more, because I'm not afraid to show my light, because I'll tell you this, my darkness knows crap. So if my light is shining and you come to me with crap, my darkness is not going to let my light be injured. My darkness is not going to let my light be hurt. It's when you have your ego in check, it is the best spiritual bodyguard that you can ever have. It will work for you. So that's my story. And I hope it helps somebody, maybe. I don't know. We'll see, right? But anyways, I enjoy learning and growing. And I love watching the people on my timeline learn and grow. I have so many spiritual people on my timeline now that it's such a joy to read your posts and to see people thinking outside the box. And so I just want to say I really appreciate all of you. I really appreciate looking at the positivity. And then there's those people who dig deep down into the darkness, and they share it, and they share it, and you can just see their spirit getting bigger as they share it. And I love watching those transformations take place. So everyone on my timeline, I want you to know that I'm so appreciative of what you share every day. And I don't know. I know I have 5,000 friends on my timeline, so I don't see everybody's stuff. But for the ones that I do see it, let me tell you, I really appreciate you. So you guys have a great Friday night, and tomorrow's Saturday, so hopefully we have a good day tomorrow too, right? Okay, everybody, I will see you in the next live or the next video. Who knows? We'll see each other soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.